enter the truck driving wild. Now what I wanted to do was, I wanted to find a more traditional cab for my war rig. And I found this guy. It was more traditional, as in, I'm saying that because a lot of people do the Mad Max route where they take a bunch of different cars, stack them on top of one another to get that Fury Road feel, which is awesome, and those look fantastic. But I just feel like there's a lot of them out there. So I wanted to try and do something a little different. So I was gonna use this front cab, because I thought it was really cool. And then I was gonna use the back carriage from this guy, because I wanted something big, square, that you could store a lot of stuff in, and then also build on top of, which the Driving Wild truck didn't have. It had a really cool car that came with it, but it didn't. It had kind of like a ramp, like it just stores a couple of cars. That's fine. So, but then I was shopping for some cars today, and I found something in GameStop, and it was only 47 cents, and I had to grab it. Adding to the stack, I found this bad boy. Really can't get a good look at it when it's all stacked up like that. So let me move the stuff out of the way. So I found this bad boy right here. This is a Skylanders Shield Striker. And it was on clearance for 47 cents. And when I seen it, I was like, this looks really cool. Now, it doesn't look like a traditional cab. That's fine. But you know what? It looks a little different. I haven't seen any of these out there. There might even be a war rig out there with this front car, but you know what? I liked it. It was different enough. I haven't seen it, and I have a lot of ideas for what I want to do with it. And it was 47 cents, man. 47 cents. So I grabbed it. Now, so we're going to go this as the front body. We're going to use the Bankroller back carriage. And I got these two bad boys right here that are getting incorporated into the build. Now, what's going to be incorporated with these things? Look at these engines, baby. Look at those bad boys. Look at the size of these things. Those look like engines that belong under the hood of a war rig. And I'm saying plural, because what I want to do is, you know what? Let's open this up. Let's open up this. Let's do a little unboxing. Let's open up this Skylanders truck right now. Get rid of this thing, throw it on the floor, get rid of this thing, get rid of this paper, this little cardboard thing. Let's pop this bad boy open. All right, check it out. Thing's pretty cool. Oh, look, like the gears move all together. Now, I don't know what I'm gonna do with these gears. I kind of like them, and I want to be able to show them off, but you know, just impractical, like how this would drive. So I might put tracks. I might make tracks for this to make it look like it's on tracks. It would be a shame to lose this detail. So I think I'm going to keep it in there. You got this, you got a cool emblem on there, you got a cool grill, you got armor on the windshields already, so that's pretty cool. Got a nice spoiler. It's looking pretty cool. And what I want to do is, I want to open some more stuff. I want to get these engines off of these golf carts, and I want to put one on each side. See how you got this nice split in the middle? I want to open up this hood here, open up this hood here. I want to put one of these engines on each side. I don't know why there's a hole in it, like a divot in the top. I don't like that. I don't like this hole on top. I'm gonna have to putty that in. I don't like that. So we'd have two of those engines, stick it in each side of the hood. You know what, let me open up the bankroll. Let's get this bad boy opened up too. Sorry, guy, but you gotta go. You're cool. You know, you're a nice kid. Maybe I'll make a medium truck with this bad boy right here. Throw a big ass gun on the back of this thing. So that'll go over there. So we're gonna rock this just like that. And I like that the front is like wider and bigger than the cab, so it looks like it has the power to really pull this around. I always like this car. all armored up already. Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked. I get sidetracked easily. So there you go. Still gonna have this cab on the back. I think it's gonna be cool like that. Just gotta figure out a way to get this to hook onto the back of this. It shouldn't be too tough. Gonna stick some wheels under here. Change out these wheels for something bigger and nastier. And there you go. And this opens up. Now I'm thinking, whoa, I just popped the door off. All right, I didn't expect that to happen. So this opens up, which is pretty cool. And I want to do something with it. So it fits a car. Maybe I could put a buggy in there or something, but I was actually thinking of having this open up, and I want to have like a big gun coming out the back, just a dude on a turret. I think that would be pretty cool. So I'm gonna want to take advantage of that back compartment. And there you have it. So that's gonna be the start of the rig. So let's get into the gritty of this build. Let's start cutting into this thing. Let's start getting some plastic card all together, rotting and all that stuff. And let's start digging into this build. As you can see, I got the drill and we separated some parts. Now this golf cart, there's 3 rivets on this thing. And the third rivet is to hold in the engine. So if all you want is the engine out of this golf cart, just take out that 1 rivet and this comes right out. But I wanted the seats inside too, so I had to open up the whole thing. So I popped open that, I got the engine, that came out. And I wanted the seats from inside the car, so I popped it open and I wanted the seats. So what I want to do is I want to cut these seats out and I want to mount them on the back kind of as like a throne. And I'm going to try and have a bunch of steering wheels come off the back of this, kind of like the Iron Throne, but with like steering wheels. So I think that'll be pretty cool. So I just needed the seats from there. So that's going to go back there like that. I'm going to chop off this front part, obviously. Not going to keep that. But I do like the back. Like the back has like some nice little detailing. So I'm going to keep that. Then I'm going to put some steering wheels coming out the back. So that should be pretty cool. Then I was looking at this. This actually makes a good turret base. If I just clip this off and I can mount this to the vehicle somewhere as like a base for a turret, I'm thinking about that. Although I did want to use another car because I like the look of it. But this would make a pretty neat turret frame. Maybe just mount this on something. But I took the seats out already, but it would still make a good frame. So we're going to save that for maybe a future build or something. But right now we're just taking the seats from it and the engine. Now I said I was going to do 2 engines, have like a twin engine look on this thing. But then I was looking at it, and to have 2 engines on here wouldn't really look like. Hold on, let me just cut off this nub right there. And then we could rock and roll. We could see, let me cut off this nub. I just want to get a better look. I'm going to clip this one. I don't like my snips. I'll use this for now. So if we do 2, they're just too big. They're just too big and they would cover up the whole windshield. So that would just be ridiculous. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna cut this open and I'm gonna do 1 large engine in the front. And that should be good. So this is gonna go inside the hood a bit more. This isn't gonna be so, they're gonna be able to see out the sides. So that's gonna go in there. I'm gonna cut this open. I'm gonna dig into this. This is plastic, by the way. It's not die cast. So it's gonna be easier to work with. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to make tracks for this or put wheels. I'm still debating on that. But I did decide I don't really have to strip the paint off of this because it's a super thin coat of paint they put on here. The plastic is blue. So the plastic itself is blue. So the only paint that's on here is like the gold here, and I was looking at the paint and it's very thin. Like if you look sideways, it's like a very thin layer of paint, so it's not going to really make too much of a difference. very thin coat of paint. And for what I want to do, it's not going to be that big of a difference for me. I don't know if I have to bother stripping the paint off because the main body is all blue anyway. And the paint isn't thick. Like, you can't even feel it with your fingernails. Tried. So I think I'm just going to go over it. It shouldn't be a big deal. I'm still debating whether I'm going to open this up and take out the tracks, but we'll see how that goes. So, as of right now, big engine in the front. This thing's a beast. So I'm going to cut that open. But I do like the idea of twin engines, like side by side. I think that would be kind of wacky because you got this wide front hood, and I think that would be cool. So I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth on it. Now, let me get 2 other engines and see how that looks. All right, so I dug up 2 engines. Now, I could go with the one monster engine in the front, but it does cover. It's like, it really bothers me that it covers the windshield. Even if this was just one single, it'd be really hard to see around it. And it's just bugging me. Because when I do my builds, I do like to have them be practical to a sense. You know, I know some of the things are just not practical, but this is, I think, just overkill. Even though I love this big engine. But it just, no matter how I cut it, and I know in this car, look, like they just put it in front of this golf cart. There's no way they could see around this giant engine. It's like very comical. But I don't want this to have a comical feel. I want this to have like a gritty feel, so. I don't know. Do that. All right, guys. So this is where we at with the War Rig. What I did was I had A6 this back door. In the long run, I didn't like it. It came up weird and it just stood halfway. It kept on falling off. And I didn't really like this like kind of like vault hatch for the back. So I just got rid of it. So that came off. I'm planning on just putting in my own doors here. I'm gonna make my own doors that come out and open up in the middle. I got the seat up on there, so that's looking pretty good. I mean, I like how the seat came up, so that's gonna be there. And this was supposed to be a piggy bank, I guess. So there's a humongous slot here for coins. So I had to cover that up. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with the inside yet. I'm either gonna have a guy on a turret, something, I'm just not sure yet. What I wanna do is I wanna bring this, I kinda wanna bulk this up a little bit. So I'm either gonna have a ledge coming out here with guys on top, so guys could be on top of the sides and make it like a 2-tier system. So you have the top, I'll put some like netting around the sides or something, bars or whatever. And I'm planning on having war drums on the front. Now, I know a lot of people like to do all the speakers and the guitars, so I'm gonna try and do something a little different. I'm gonna have war drums. Just like a dude just barreling away on some war drums. I have the perfect model for it too. So when we get to that part, it's gonna be pretty cool. And I wound up going with the single engine. I tried putting the 2 smaller engines on each side, and I couldn't get it to look right. I just didn't like the way it looked with the 2 small engines on either side. I tried a lot of things to get it to work. And then I tried to get the giant motor, I tried to get the whole thing to fit in here. And it just wouldn't fit. The thing was too big. This motor is just massive. I mean, look at that blower and look at that lower belt. So what I did was, I was gonna cut a hole in the hood and just try and drop in as much of the engine as I could without looking crazy, covering, you know, the whole entire windshield. I'm gonna flash up a picture, but I began to cut into it, and underneath this plastic, there's like layers and layers of plastic. So it wasn't just like cut open a hole and then I could take a knife and easily carve out a shape. It was like layers, it was like a couple of layers of like plastic. So what I did was, I covered up that hole. Well, I took the engine, I cut it up, and I just left the top part and I glued it to the top. Then I took some putty and I fixed up the big hole that I had put in the center of this hood. So I'm happy with the way it came out. Got the engine on there, it's looking pretty sweet. Got some green stuff that came in there. It lines up nicely with the emblem. And I'm digging the way that turned out. I'm gonna add some piping coming off the sides a little bit, I think out the sides I'm going to put some exhaust, so that's going to be looking pretty mean. But so far, I'm digging the way this came out. So I got to take some green stuff and just cover that up. Now I'm still undecided what I'm going to do. I might, there's a piece of me that's just thinking of just leaving this as is. And I don't know. Maybe I'll make tracks. I'm not positive yet. I'm still thinking about it. Just leaving it as is, or actually cutting up some plastic card to like make tracks to go around the whole entire thing. That's still up in the air. But so far, I dig the way this is coming out. Now the only thing we have to do is settle up on some wheels. So at first I had these really cool wheels from Ken's shop. These things are fantastic. Look at these things. These are like just beastly wheels. And I had them on here and I glued them on and they looked okay. They looked all right. But then when I lined this up, I'm like, wow. I'm like, this front cab, it's wide. And I kind of want to beef up the back a little bit to match the front. And having this like just beastly cab in the front, even these tires, which are great tires, and these are going to go on a build somewhere on like a medium truck or a SWAT van or something, because these are really nice, but I'm not going to use them for this. So what I did was I found myself some monster truck tires, and I'm going to get these tires onto the back of this thing. What I want to do is I want to put them like right there. Probably have to cut this out, but there's a problem. There's a plate here. Now this comes off. So let's pop this off. Got these tabs. And that pops right off. So we got that off. And it's annoying that this metal plate is here because I really didn't want to take any more rivets out. I mean, I just cleaned up my desk. I had shards of metal all over the place. So what I got to do is I got to go in there again. I guess I got to drill out rivets because I'm not going to be able to cut into this. This is like a pretty thick piece of metal. And what that's doing is it's stopping me from cutting away this wheel well so I could get these a little bit more flush up against the truck. Because what I want to do is I want to get these in there flush, and then I'm going to build outwards and around it a little bit. So we're going to see there. And then what I might actually do is, instead of building like a platform that goes across here, I might actually use the top of the reel well and then make it like little ports where guys could like hang out on the side on top of the wheel well and shoot and stuff. So I might do that instead of just running something along the whole side. But I'm also going to bring a wheel on the front, so I'm going to put one of these. I'm going to put the wheels in this side too. So first things first, I got to get rid of this plate. This plate got to go. So let's take care of that. Let's get that plate off. Let's get these wheels on, and then we'll start to build up the back part. All right, peeps, this is where we're at. So far, I like the way the profile's coming out for this thing. It looks mean. Looks like it's gonna be a bit chunky, but let me show you what I did so far. So I got the axle glued onto the back of this bad boy right here. What I did was I took two of these support beams. I keep on forgetting what they call these things. Anyway, so I took two of those and I cut them down, and I took some plastic card and I made a little plate for the top and bottom, and I put a magnet right inside there, and I drilled 2 holes in the back of this, and then I shaved these down to be able to fit in those 2 holes, and there you go. I glued it in. It's in there. It has really good support, and it's holding really good. And for this bad boy, I took off the top of this. I tossed a magnet right inside there. So now it magnetizes, it pulls, it's fine, it could turn. And when I want to put it away in the case, I could take it apart. But the beauty of it, I have some plans. What I want to do is, I'm going to put a anti-aircraft gun in the back of this thing. But I want it to be able to pull out, and then like pull out and pop up. So kind of like it's like the doors open and this thing pulls out. I think that'd be really cool. But I want to be able to pull it all the way out, so I could stick it and magnetize it on the back of this. So if I want to field this as a medium truck without the back, I could put the anti-aircraft gun right on there, and I think that would be a cool way of fielding this as a medium truck if I wanted, as well as that. I mean, I have plans for this bad boy to become a medium truck, so, but if I want to do that, I can. You know, I might as well. I got the magnet in there. I feel like it would be a waste not to try and do it. Now, what I did with the monster wheels was I got them glued onto the sides. I took off the old wheels, drilled out some holes, and I was able to stick these right in where the old wheels were. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to build armor siding coming on top of it, because I want to make this like a battle platform or a catwalk. So I'm going to trim this down so this just looks like the casing for the wheels, the armor. And then I'm going to add some handrails and a ladder coming up and down, a door or something to represent access to the catwalk. And then I'm going to stick a bunch of guys on here with weapons, guns, small arms. Maybe I'll put a mounted machine gun on each side. I think that'll be really cool. But so far, I dig the way the build's coming. So I'm going to grab the knife. And we're going to trim this down. Now I'm going to flash up a couple of pictures on how I got this to go. I basically cut strips of plastic card, and then I bent it into the shape I needed to go over the wheels. And then after I got those shapes bent over, I took another piece of plastic card and I just glued it on. And instead of trying to mess it and cut it before, I find it easier just to glue it on and then cut away all the extra that I don't need. So let me get in there right now. I'm going to start cutting this thing. Let me get in there. I should probably put a new blade on this thing. Feels like it's time for a new blade, but it seems to be cutting through easy enough. I get a little cheap with my blades, so I try not to, you know, break into the new blades too often. I'll use a blade until it's like so dull. But that's just me being cheap. I should probably change my blades way more often than I do. But I make it work. But I sometimes finding working with a dull blade is sometimes easier than working with a really sharp blade, because a dull blade gives you a little bit of leeway. You know, a sharp blade, sometimes you could overextend because the blade is so sharp and it just cuts right through. So let me get this to just the right. And I don't want this to be perfect. I want it to look like, I'm basically doing the war rig I'm doing it for slime. I think it's going to be a slime themed war rig. So I kind of want to make it look like it's, you know, built. I don't want to make it look like it's like out of a shop or manufactured from a shop. I want it to look like some dudes took some metal, cut it up, and welded it in place. So I don't need perfect lines, but I don't want it to get crazy. I think it's coming out good so far. Whoops. Alright, so cup up here. Now the crazy thing was, on the way home from work today, I was on the subway. I was on the metro, the subway, the tube. How everybody calls it. We call it the subway, which is the train in the city. You know, some people call it metro, some people call it the tube, some people call it the steel horse. I don't know if anyone calls it the steel horse, but
I mean,
I sometimes do.
I think some people actually call it the Iron Snake.
Oh, really? The Iron Snake?
Yeah.
My little guy thinks some people call it the Iron Snake, so some people call it the Iron Snake, apparently. But I was on the train. All right, let's get back to this. I got interrupted. The wife dropped in on a zip line out of nowhere. She came crashing in through the window like a like a SWAT team member on a drug raid with all these questions. Felt like I was being questioned by the SWAT team. Came zipping in on a zip line. Anyway, but I like how this is coming out. See how I'm just cutting into it. I'm using a knife, I'm cutting in a shape. I got this pattern going, and I kind of like that. I don't want it to be perfectly straight. I want it to look makeshift is the word I was looking for. And I like that. It gives some cool curvature. Let me round this corner out a little bit. There you go. I'm digging that. So on the other side, I'm gonna do the same exact thing. So let's cut into this bad boy. Yeah, don't mind the household. I'm trying to get this. I want to work on the war rig, and what I do is I wanted to record some of it while I was working on it, and we got some company over. My friend got some friends over. My son got some friends over. So, you know, I didn't want to stop the party to cut a video. So they were all having a good time. They're playing some video games, and so stuff is going down here. So if you hear some background noise, that's what that is. But I know a lot of people been asking me, can I please record some of the process? Because usually what I do is I work on it and then I jump on and I just, you know, explain what I did. But I had people asking me if I could record some of the process. This way they could get a visual of what's happening. And I thought, you know, me carving this down would be one of those times. See, I'm also like shaving on the side because I want it to look like it's kind of like sanded down and welded down. We're going to cut into this a little bit more. We're going to add some curves again. Go curve that in. There we go. Oh, so getting back to the story, I was on the train and there was a guy and he was walking really slow, kind of shuffling onto the train. He was an older guy, and I felt kind of bad what had happened, but I don't know why it was funny a little bit. But it was just odd. It was an odd thing that happened, and I found it a little funny. So, getting on the train. Well, I'm on the train already. I'm sitting there. I'm watching Luther. I decided, I had some people tell me Luther's a good show. Popped on Netflix. I was watching it. So the doors open up, and this guy is shuffling onto the train. He's going so slow. He's just shuffling. And he's walking with his head down. And he gets right to the doors. And the doors go bong, bong. And they go to close. And the poor guy wasn't quite on the train. And the door is kind of just like closed around his head. So his head is in the train. The doors are trying to close. His hat gets knocked off, and he's standing on the outside of the train. And, you know, the train just doesn't like open up and let you go because it doesn't want to open up so more people will come in, because it's like Manhattan's very busy, so they want the doors to close and then move on, and then people that didn't make the train, they just wait for the next one. But if something's jammed, they won't open it all the way to allow more people to like start holding open the door for other people. So it's kind of just doing this like jerking motion, you know, because it wants to just let you get out whatever's jammed. Like it's usually a purse or a backpack or someone's hand, never a head. So this guy just looking up and he's thinking like ding, 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 ding. He had plenty of times to pull it out, but he was almost like in shock of what was happening. And just as like everybody kind of was like stunned around, and everybody kind of all reacted at the same time. Everybody jumped up, including me. And we wanted to get this guy in or off the train before this door kept on just opening and reclosing. Anyway, he got off the train. He was perfectly fine. And I guess he waited for the next train. And we continued on our journey home. But I thought that was kind of funny. I mean, it wasn't meant to be funny, but it was a little funny. And thinking back on it, you know, the guy didn't get hurt. The guy was fine. It was a funny scene. It was pretty comical. Anyway, so there we go. We got these on there, and that's what we're doing with these. So we got the wheel armor all taken care of. So that's on there like that. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to find a way to make some handrails. And I don't know what I'm going to do for handrails yet. Maybe do something like this, or maybe I'll put up some mesh netting. I don't know. I got to come up with a solution for the handrail so the guys shooting off the sides don't go flying off at the first bump. It would be cool if I came up with a way to kind of like have all the guys have like harnesses with chains connecting to the truck. So they're kind of just like leaning over and not even have any handrail. That might be pretty cool. I don't know, I'm gonna think about that. But as of right now, we got the armor on there. We got this all together. I'm digging how it's coming out. So I'm gonna come up with a solution for the handrails for this thing, and we're gonna see what we're gonna do with that. And I'm also coming up with a solution. I'm gonna flash it up on the screen. I'm gonna give you guys a little sneak peek of the war drums I'm gonna mount right here, baby. I'm gonna mount a big set of war drums with this big dude. You know what? Let me get the guy. So I found this guy. Check this guy out. Check this dude out. I don't think he came from like a little Ninja Turtle set or something. I don't know who the character is, but he got this cool iron helmet on. Got this weird iron like spider scarab thing on his chest with some metal things coming out of his spine and shoulder blades. Just a big buff guy. And he can move his arms up. And I'm gonna have this guy standing here playing some war drums, I think. So I can do one arm up and one arm down maybe, I don't know. But we're gonna put a big set of war drums around this guy. I'm gonna flash up a picture on the screen of the war drums I'm thinking of. And I think it's gonna be pretty cool. Anyway, let me rummage around for stuff and see what we could do. Listen to those war drums, baby. That's the sound of your impending doom when this war rig comes racing down the highway at you. Anyway, I'm back, guys. I got a lot of progress from the last video clip that I had posted, but I'm really happy with the way this came out, and I'm just loving the overall look of this bad boy. Take a look at this thing. I added some exhaust piping. Don't worry, the pipe on the left and the second pipe on the left, I'm going to fix that. It wound up coming out a little bit crooked after it dried for some reason, and it kind of came out of shape. But what I did was I put these pipes in hot water, boiling water actually. I got them a little bit softer, and I was able to bend them, and then when they cooled and dried, they actually stayed in place. Well, except for that one stubborn pipe. That SOB, I'm going to get that pipe. Anyway, I'm going to take that pipe out. I'm going to swap it out. But I had a lot of fun with this thing. Been having a blast. I put some antenna accents. I put a little Vox speaker on there because I just wanted to give this thing a lot of personality. And I'm just digging the overall look of it, the overall vibe. I got the engine on there the way I like it. I'm totally happy with it. I covered that horrible dent that was on top of it. And I wound up keeping the wheels the way they are. I was going to swap them out for different tires. I was going to put tracks. But in the end, I was like, you know what? I like the way it looks. Once I get a lot of mud in there, a lot of grime, it's going to be looking really good. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy the way it turned out. And I was just motioning to the back hitch part because I'm going to make a turret that magnetizes to the back of that thing in case I want to ever field it by itself. So let's get back into the trailer, the main fortress part of this build, and look at those war drums. They're beautiful. I'm going to have a guy standing in the middle wailing away on those war drums. I think they came out perfect. They're totally what I had in my head. They're just like the ones in Ark, and I'm digging them. I put a little bit of trophies on top of it to give it a little bit of life, and I'm just super happy with it. Now, if you notice, I put a bunch of spikes along the back, and what I was trying to go for, I was trying to give this thing like the look of like a spine, with all the spikes being like vertebrae, and it kind of matched because the exhaust on the front part, it kind of looks like a rib cage almost, so it kind of gives like this like background skeleton theme. Then of course I got the throne, I got the wheels on top as like trophies. I'm gonna paint something on the back plate, but I got the perfect dude on order that's gonna be sitting in that throne. And I think you guys are going to all agree with me when you see who I have sitting in that throne. Then I put some saddlebags around. I spruced it up a little bit, make it look lived in. And then I had to have a BFG, or at least a cannon. So whatever I want to use this as, a BFG or a cannon, I got a nice big gun on the front of this trailer. And I got this Ogre Kingdom banner pole topper that I had for a real long time, and I'm happy that I found the use for it finally. It's like cool when you have bits for a real long time, you finally find the use for it. It's like the perfect use. Love it. Then what I did was I put a lot of rivets on these plates I had added to the side, because the trailer had a bunch of tiny rivets and I wanted to tie it all together. So I added the rivets, I cut them up, I took a piece of plastic rod and I took an X-Acto knife and I just cut thin little slices to make rivets. Then I added a little side door and a trapdoor on top just to show access, how you would get onto like the side catwalks and the top part of the trailer. Then of course you got the harpoons with the chain. I wanted like a really beefy arrowhead, something that looks like when it gets launched at a vehicle, it really hooks in and you could pull it in with the chain. And I used like a Lego inner rim as the spool for the chain. What was perfect about that was it had like a little black end cap that was able to glue in to the side of the trailer, holding it perfectly in place. And it actually looks good. It looks like it's supposed to be there. And it just turned out perfect. I was so happy with that. Then, of course, I got some flamethrowers on there, so you got some side-mounted flamethrowers. I got the flame tank over there. What I might do is I might add some hoses coming from the tanks to the flamer, and that'll just spruce up the overall look of it as well. Then I threw some spare tires in the back. I think I'm going to take some mesh and make like a roll cage, and that roll cage will go over the tires. This way it looks like they're in there super securely. And I got some of Ken's tires, which I don't want to do it, but I just think they would look so good on the back over there. It's like, do I want to use these just as spares on the back of this war rig? And I think I do, because it just looks great. I just, I don't want to put more of the Hot Wheels tires. I want to like mix it up a bit, and those dirt tires would look really cool there. So I think I'm going to have to bite the bullet and put some of Ken's tires there. Then I took some of Ken's miniguns, threw it on the back of the trailer to give this thing a little bit more firepower, and I added a little bit more like accent decorations to the back of the throne. And the back doors I'm still working on. I got some armor plating on there, I got some more rivets, there's a couple little more details I want to add to the back door. But overall, I'm super happy with the way this thing is coming out. Now I'm going to split this build into two parts, because the second part is going to be me adding all of the gang members and figures. They're going to get put onto the war rig. Well, I'm going to paint them up first. And the second part to this video is going to be the paint job. And I want to take you guys step by step to me actually giving this thing a really good paint job. I want to show you how I do the weathering, how I do my rust, how I weather all my metals, and just a little insight on the way I paint. So that's going to be cool. So I'm going to save a lot of that painting stuff for the second video. And I have another couple of videos coming up, including finishing off those biomechanical cars that I had made a couple of videos ago. I got the one painted, I'm super happy with it, but I want to get on video how I got to that level, and I'm saving those cars so I can make a little step-by-step on how I got there. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. Hope you guys love it. Get your games in. Fantastic.